So I got the 1 year chart daily candles for UONE, Urban One Inc. This is an interesting play because it ran exactly 1 year ago from under $2 to above 50, so a big parabolic squeeze. Two reasons: the BML riots and the Juneteenth holiday. We saw black owned businesses getting pumped in the stock market. So remember the CARVs, the BYFCs, and here UONEs were the ones that benefited from that. But as you can see, it sold right off. So we'll go over the fundamentals in a little bit, but that's worth noting. Big move, came back, slight uptrend all year, and here we are, stepping up, actually forming a little cup and handle we'll go over later. But let's even zoom back further to see how this was a pretty boring stock in the ones and the twos until that moment. It had a couple spikes before, but that changed everything, and now it's a former runner, and there's always going to be FOMO. But we'll go over what's changed fundamentally on the stock. So let's look back. Let's look at the 3-day to just see what we're dealing with. So this was $7. They got into an uptrend, and then today it spikes from the 9s to above 13 to find support in 11 and then consolidate. So, but here the uptrend still putting it around 1050. So let's go back to the 10-day to even look further. So we were at $5, big move. So nice step, consolidation. We break above this high point, so that's why this moved so quickly. We pushed above this former 1080, 11, 20-ish top, squeezed above 13, and now we're using the former resistance as support. But as you can see, we're kind of high up, and we're above the trend line. So let's go back and look in the bigger picture here and the fundamentals. So I want to go over when this moved from $2 to above 50, what the situation was. So we have to go all the way back to this. Let me fix this. To this old 10Q. So as of May 22nd, 2020, the Class A had 1.58 million shares. So it was a 1.58 million share because I'm talking about UONE ticker, which is the Class A one. So that ran from that on under with the 1.6 million shares. So let's go through a timeline to look at this and get a visual. So the next one, as of November 6th, there's 4.4 million shares. So 1.6 million shares on this run. And here we are in November with 4.4. So they more than doubled their share count here in November. And then let's go to the next one. Then here we are in March 12th, 21. And they got 6.6. So 1.6, 4, 6.6. But it is worth noting, this was their 10Q. On their last 10K as of May, they had the exact same as their 10Q on this. So from March to May, there hasn't been any dilution on the Class A. So it's also worth noting this is structured with multiple classes of share counts. So this isn't just when you're looking at the revenue, it's not, you can't just say this is a 6.3 million share stock. There's Class B, there's Class C, and Class D. And there's roughly 10, 47, 48 million shares all together. But where I'm talking about the Class A on this video for the price action. But we'll go over the fundamentals real quick. So here's the thing. Everyone's going to think this is going to make the same type of movement. But now, not only is there going to be more resistance on this chart, they're squeezed into places where it never had been. So there was no form of resistance. That helps on parabolic moves, as well as it was probably heavily shorted at the time. Now shorts are going to be more aware to be careful here. There's going to be more resistance on the chart. And there's 1.6 to 6.6 million shares, it's not still a low float in the bigger picture, but in percent wise, it is a big increase. So let's go some of the catalysts. It's interesting though why I'm talking about it. So they actually got selected out of a group of investors to do a casino in South Richmond, Virginia. It says they're targeting in 2023 $560 million. So this is interesting because here we go. Let's go to the bottom. The city is tentatively scheduled to vote on the June 14th on the proposed terms of deal. So I don't know if it's coming out, what the results are going to be soon after, but you'd think so. So there's going to be anticipation and hype in that, as well as the June 19th holiday where it ran last year. So you got two situations on a still low float stock in this bigger picture heading into this week. And let's look at when we look at the 10-day chart, we see the cup and handle. So it looks strong, but it's also known to sell off. So there's a lot of money to be made both ways on a situation like this. So let's also note the volume. In the last year, when it did that volume from the 1 to the 50, it's trading on 45 million a day, 58 million. The other day, it traded 80 million shares, which caused it to go to 50 to 9. And here on today, we traded 22 million. So we got a lot of volume. The 200 SMA's down to 570 though, so I'd say this is pretty overextended. As soon as the volume dries and the momentum dries, this probably will drop pretty hard. But it's an interesting situation. I think that the casino news will bring a lot of people in, but I think short term, it's going to be negative for the share price, because even though it says they're paying only $25 million up front, we go back to their last 10 kill, and we see they have $56.8 million. So they had $56.8 million. That would be half of their cash right there. And you can see in December 31st, 2020, they had 73. So now they got 56. 3 months later, they're burning a lot amount of cash. So that's about another quarter. If they spent $25 million up front, and then they went one more quarter, they'd be out of cash. So it's an interesting situation. And also, it's worth noting the revenue is decreasing slightly. And let's look at the 10 kill for a better picture of that. My God, let me see this. Page 34. So this is where nothing. So actually, let's go through the bigger picture of everything first. So their net revenue for 2019, they made $193 million. In 2020, they made $137 million. So this stock ran and came to an all-time high in share price in anticipation that all this, remember Trump was doing the platinum plan, all this BLM movement was going to add to their growth. And we can see it hasn't. Their growth didn't do good. And check this out. This is what's most interesting too. And this last year was a political year. It was an election year. And they got $22 million in political advertisement. No doubt in Biden or Trump trying to appeal to the black crowd. As opposed to in 2019 when they made $1.4 million in political advertising money. So they're not going to next year. If they're on the same pace and they don't get the political advertisement, they're looking at half of the profit. The revenue they would have had in 2019 and 2021. So their stock price is going up while their revenue is going down. And here's another interesting situation. So on page 7, this concerns me. 2028 notes offering. It says on January 7th, 2021, the company launched an offering. The 2028 note offering of $825 million in aggregate principal amount of senior secured notes due 2028. So let's go pretty much. The company used the net proceeds from the 2028 nets offering together with cash on hand to repay or redeem the loans outstanding under that certain credit agreement dated of April 18th, 2017. So they're going in debt to pay old debt. And we can see that later on in their financials that long-term debt is about $825 million from this. They have paid off the recent credit line of, I think is around $27 or $28 million. So they have access to that. Around $56 million and a declining revenue. So another situation is interesting is they went ahead and said in their 10Q, their 10K, that they had enough cash proceeds for the next 12 months to then go ahead and drop a 42B 2 months later. So that's not very honest. To say we have enough cash to go for the next 12 months and then do an offering 2 months later of $25 million of Class D common share stock. Here's what I'm suspecting. They have a shelf open right here. And it's 50 million shares of Class A. They already did 25 million right here off this 42B on August 18th. That's the dilution we saw. I expect another 25 million shares, and I think this time they'll be smart enough to do it at the heights. So try to get it off, into the strength. So I'm going to try to play day trade. I'm going to be day trading this only, looking for upsides and downside and for the quick volatility. And let's go over the price target, the resistance and the support levels. I got them from the day chart. You see it right here. We already went over it around 11. 1080, 11 is going to be support from today. And it's going to be heavy from around 12 to 1220. And then above 1220, I'd say 1280 right here. Then 375. Well, 333 right here. And then let's see, I got on the here we go. So 220, 280, 333. And then I got 375 on a daily candle chart. I came up with that one. 1450, 15, 660, and then $18 as resistance levels. But here we go on the support levels. I see we went over the 11, 1080. So then I see 910 here, the top of this candle, as well as this action here, this action, and the bottom of these candles. Underneath that, I'm going 865 from around 865, which is the bottom of these candles, and the top of this candle. These candles, underneath 865, 830, which is the top of multiple. Look, resistance here, resistance here, resistance here, resistance here. 830. Get rid of that one. Under 830 will be $8 right here, which is, you can see the support along here as well as the resistance along here and over here. Under $8 would be $7.50. Just to kind of the support of all along this, as well as temporarily the resistance here. $7.50. So I'll repeat I'll go $11 to around $10.80 support. $9.10, $8.65, $8.30, $7.50. And then I'm gonna go over how I came up with the higher up resistance levels. So we could only see up to 330. So 1375 would be the bottom of these candles. 1450 is the top of them. 15 is the top of this candle and this candle. So I think that would be heavy as well, even though it's kind of close. And then 1666 is the bottom of this wick and the top of these two wicks, as well as some action here around 650, 660. And then I'm going 18 above that, which would be the bottom of this candle, the top of these wicks, the bottom of this wick. So I repeat: 375, 1450, 15, 660, and 18 would be resistance price target levels I'd lock profits at. And on the downside, there's the 11 support: 910, 865, 830, 8, and 750. And I think this is a momentum play. That's it. I think maybe long term you get in after they build the casino, but I think until that 2023 date, there's going to be a dilution and a short term downside after the hype is over.